Oh yeah, over the ditch. Back doing a few of these. Had a week or two off for the winter months, and I will say I'll probably have a week or two off coming up very, very shortly. But wrapped to be catching up with part of the Dalgety stable partnership, if you like, Cran Dalgety. Firstly, Cran, welcome and thank you very much for joining me.
Hello, Paul. No, great to be on your show, and we'll try and make it entertaining.
It's actually sometimes you do these things and they can be bad blood. I don't know. We have a publication over the Herald Sun, and I know the Cox Plate runners never wanted to be on the back page of the Herald Sun because whenever they were, they'd run last in the Cox Plate. So this, on the other hand, is actually working okay. I had Stevie Telfer on there a little while ago, and I will say I think he trained 10 winners that weekend, but they're just going from strength to strength. So it's not a bad luck thing, that's for sure, Cran.
No, I knew that before I started.
I have actually got the NZB. They are supporters of Campbell's Comments. I will say, too, if you are watching this, you've got till Friday to nominate your yearling. And we are going to touch on that with Cran going forward. But, yeah, you got till Friday to nominate your yearlings for the two sales on the 16th and the 18th of February. Mate, I want to catch up. There's quite a few things. I want to catch up just to find out how the stable was going. If you like, you've got some great horses in there, some very exciting horses of the future. And then you've turned around, you've had a holiday. We also want to touch on your yearling. So we've got a few things to cover off on. But your training, I just looked in, yourself and Chrissy, 182 winners off, not too many years. So 4 years, 5 years. We're into your fifth year now. So, you must be wrapped with how it is going and has been going for a long time.
Yes, it's any bigger stable, Paul. It's sort of a combination of many people putting their advice in, putting their hard work in. So sometimes I'm just a window front, but so I have a help from a lot of people, and Chrissy's coming on board. It's been great, and plus a lot of our great staff we have behind the scenes.
Yeah, and we will get on. We'll get on to that. But was it rewarding training a horse with your wife, your first winner? Do you remember the first winner as a partnership?
Now, gee, this is a trivia, Paul. You should have actually told me that before I got on the show.
I don't.
I can't remember what.
I don't know.
can't
I don't
tell
know.
you.
I don't know it. So it was just one of those questions to actually ask. So I wasn't real sure about it actually. But yeah. But it must be fun training together.
It really is. You bounce ideas off each other, and what I miss, she might fall in, and vice versa. And she's sort of behind the scenes with administration naturally, and putting all our directions in the right direction, I suppose, to speak, and sort of head down, bum up with the horses. As you well know, it's sort of it's a game where you can get in a tunnel easily and not lift your head up because you're sort of the hours are a bit crazy, but we do it because we love it naturally. So I never complain about it because I'm still doing it and I love it.
You have a massive family involvement, and that's why I think with yourself and Chrissy as a training partnership, you're sort of the matriarchs, if you like, now of your family. But you've got your two daughters, your son now driving. Everyone's involved in the stable in one way or another, and it must be pretty exciting.
It really is, yes. So speaking of all the children, so our oldest daughter Laura, she's great with the marketing, and she's qualified in accounting, and so she does a lot of our marketing, which is fantastic for us. And Madison, our middle girl, she's actually still in Brisbane. She's still studying. She's the brains of the family. She's into psychology and neuroscience. So that must have come from the mum. And Carter, he's done well at uni too, and but now he's actually thrown to the horse world. So. So we're all got a wee piece of the action as far as the stable runs.
But if you go somewhere and the family's there, you are a family, you're a collective, and as they say, you hunt together basically. Like you are pretty quite tight knit, but promote, get around it, get the excitement level going, which makes this sport so much more infectious, if you ask me.
Yeah, well, that's where Chrissy's really good, along with Laura. We have a lot of big syndicates now. We're getting like the thoroughbred world. Yeah, we've got lots of horses with sort of 30, 40, 50 people in it. But for ownership, it's a fun thing. If you've got two strands of the tail, when the horse kicks a goal, it's just as much fun. It becomes my horse rather than our horse. We all know about that. And I think syndication, it's like a professional excuse to get together on a chosen social occasion. I sort of categorise it as, and the friendships and the funds and what a four-legged horse can do for you, and make those connections.
Yeah, you're spot on, and it is a lot of fun, and we'll touch on a few of the things that you got going there very shortly. The teammate Republican Party. Well, I think he had 3 Group 1s, if you count the one at the end of last year. I think it was like the 31st or 30th or whatever it was. But he really has taken things to a new level this year. You must be wrapped with how his progression's gone and, the way you guys are managing him.
it's just very exciting just to even get a horse to free for all company, Paul. We battle away with horses that can't win one race, but he's won a lot, and he's really accomplished himself pretty good in the free for all company. He loves the longer distance, as it's well known. He's a very small horse. He's built like a little bulldog, but he grows and swells up on the racetrack, and going forward, he's one of the more competitive ones in the free for all company here in NZ, and and then we're sort of waiting to motor match the two hot pots from Oz, come out in November.
Would it be fair to say the year before, even at the start of the year, he's possibly on paper looked a little bit disappointing, but was that just trying to level up with the big boys?
I think it was just a shock, Paul, of getting the free for all company. A lot of good age group horses. They look good getting to that category, and then the older ones just sort of mentally sort of beat them up a wee bit. But now he's hardened and accomplished to the ring craft now. So he can sort of run with them and growl with them now.
No stranger to good horses. I can't remember the last. He's on the tip of my tongue. I can see your colours because it wasn't actually in your colours either. But you've had quite a few over the journey. Do you like the horses that potentially, a bit like Republican Party, take a little while to learn that ring craft, or those ones that are bang straight there and can just do it straight away?
Well, many times, Paul, I'm probably just backstepping a wee bit. We're in a society now, Paul. We're all buying these expensive yearlings. We want to know when we can go to the trials and when we can race as a 2-year-old. And we do tighten them down a wee bit harder than we probably should do as 2 and 3-year-olds. And then putting that to the side, you'll see a lot of good free for-allers. We never sighted them at 2 or 3, and they come along and they've just had time to mature. So it's a real, it's a vicious circle, really, so to speak, really. But time's a great thing, and we would love to buy it and use more of it, which we don't.
Yeah. Which do you prefer, the juveniles or the free for allers?
Oh, I'd love the juveniles, yes, because when we bring the yearlings home to sales, every day then you see improvement with them, and getting towards the stakes races and trying to manage them and get them to those. The money is pretty big if you do kick the odd goals in juvenile racing, and when a free for all comes along, you treat it as a bonus rather than something you're destined to actually perform or get to perform when you're buying one at the sales many years earlier.
Yeah, and I suppose a horse like Republican Party, you've probably had to sit down and really map out his path going forward this year. You elected to not go to the Inter-Dominion. It's just concluded. I think possibly, like on face value, it looks like a masterstroke. But how did you feel when you were watching the Inter-Dominion and you weren't a part of it?
Oh, as a horse trainer and an enthusiast in racing, I'd love to have been there, no doubt. And I could have been there at the click of the fingers. But I just thought, well, I've just got this New Zealand Cup ear tagged I had for a while, had for 30 years, but had a lot of placings, but hasn't actually won it. And obviously, with a big champ over there, Leap to Fame's a superstar, and many other good ones around him. And I thought we'll try to sort of come in as fresh legs, building into our October, November racing. If it's a good stroke or a bad stroke, we'll know in a few months' time. But that's the theory we've gone with.
Is it hard though, as a person that loves the industry? The time on it into Dominion. Thankfully, everything went right with Larry. But if something had gone amiss with Larry, would that have been a concern for you that you weren't a part of it?
Yes, well, it's the crystal ball thing, really, Paul. Funny going into even at big races, wherever it is in Oz or NZ, I've never been worried to 1 or even maybe 2 stars a long way out from a big race. For reasons being, we all know us within the horse industry, there's 1,001 things that can go amiss. It's sure you might have the most talented animal in the event, but of getting there and healthy and well and in good mindset, there's a lot of bridges to cross. And so when there's a team of sort of 4 or 5 great ones, you're scared, but 1 or 2. So I'm not usually scared of, because of sometimes their bad luck can be someone else's good luck.
Good luck, yeah. And horses do progress too. And I think it was Tactate last year. We saw how that horse progressed through about from about now, burst onto the scenes and really become a major player. And not to know, someone might have been out there to hold a candle to Leap to Fame, but I don't think that happens at the minute. Is he as good as you've seen, Cran? Just on him very quickly.
Well, his CV proves that, Paul. He's so dominant. It's amazing. There's only there's only one thing wrong with that horse that you and I don't own him, Paul. But other than that, he's a superstar.
I thought you were going to say because he's not in your stable, but I'll go halves with you. That's fine. If we can get him off Mr. Seymour, we'll go halves. That's fine. Not a worry in the world.
True.
But anyway, your little man just recently returned from the Water Walker, and again, your social media posts that you guys are putting out. One, he looks in awesome fettle, but it must be exciting to have him back at the stable.
It really is. Yes, he is. It's funny. They have a personality, the better ones, and when he can come to the stable, he sort of put his head up and his chest out and sort of let all his other friends know that he's back in town. So you like to see them go through their excitement period, and that's what he's doing. I'm sure he's in mid-stretch training now, but we're on our way.
How far off?
He's probably at least 6 weeks from his first public outing.
And that'll be a trial?
That's right. Generally 2 trials, and then we'll find a race which sort of suits at that particular time, and then we'll fill the gaps in between our big race.
Yeah. Wanted to talk to you about a couple of the other horses that you do have in your stable. The exciting mare beside me, things just sort of looked like they just went a little bit. She was probably a little bit over the top by the end of the last campaign.
Yeah, she's a very, very big filly, Paul, and she was just running a few events out on sheer talent, really. It's one I'd love to put in the paddock for 6 months, but when they've got that much talent and there's group run races there available, you're like a magnet, you're drawn to them. So the last probably 2 races, she was probably just a touchdown and wanted a holiday, which she's had, and she's on the upcut, on the upbringing now.
What are her aims?
We have a big series here called the Neville Fillies series, and actually finals on Cup Day now, and plus we have the New Zealand Oaks too. So they're the sort of 2 pinnacles at this early stage.
The Oaks, was a fortnight after, I reckon, Cup week, fortnight, 3 weeks. Is it still then?
That's right. I've joined them pretty close together. Yeah. So they used to have. They obviously moved the Neville Fillies to Cup Day and a few others all around it, but so there's a good stream of classic fillies races at October, November.
She looks a beautiful filly. I unfortunately haven't seen her in the flesh, but she just looks huge. She looks like a 5-year-old to me, like on the racetrack. Does she give you that impression that she will get better as she gets going?
No doubt. She's had such a big frame right from early age, and just for the holiday, we sort of filled all the gaps in there, and hopefully we can put it into fruition as far as going forward again. But she's like driving a big Mack truck. She's got a wide sort of big bum on her, and she's got a big sort of donkey head on her. Not one for the beauty contest, but she's a big grunter.
I have to put the Woodland Stud ticker down underneath too, because with Paul and Mary and great supporters of mine, but also great supporters of the industry and race plenty of horses. But I know they're very excited about her.
Yeah, very much so. They've been stalwarts in the racing for many years, and for them to come into a great breed, obviously the great lump of stallions there, and to have some great racehorses and fillies on the track, it's all the awards they're getting for that, well deserved.
Fugitive was another little horse. Find out where he's at first, and then we might discuss on how you come to get him. But where's he at, and are you setting him for the derbies?
Yes, he's actually just.
Sorry, he's a 2. He's only a 2-year-old, isn't he?
Just a baby, yeah. So. He had a good sort of first part of the season, done real good, and then he's had a little holiday and he's back. He's a little bit overweight at the moment, but I suppose that's a good problem. But he's about 2 weeks into his hobble training now.
Did he surprise you?
Yes, he did, because we didn't pay a lot of money for him.
No.
We just brought him at a Welling sale, and it was just a wee fluffy teddy bear we brought him. But I just sort of took an eye to him and took a punt on him, and lucky enough to win, the Group 1 Young Guns here in Auckland, and placing a couple of others. So I'd have to say surprised me, but a real good surprise.
A nice surprise, not a bad one, sort of thing. So yeah,
very true.
What else have you got? What else can we look forward to in the stable, mate? Before we talk the other serious business, have we got a couple of little smokies coming through?
We're always looking for better ones. We've got a couple of nice juvenile fillies actually about to race soon. Actually, one of Woodland Studs. Here having a first start this week on Friday night, and then we've got some other young 2-year-olds to come through too. So a lot of sort of undergrade horses, which we all sort of got plenty of. But but we're excited with them for starters. So
how hard is it for you at the minute? You've got these nice horses starting to come through, if you like, but the weather's ordinary. I know I've seen. I follow Brittany on Instagram, and she doesn't post very many sunny days like she used to in Queensland. That's for sure. The weather's a bit drying at the minute over there. It must be nice having these nice horses coming up, but even if it is a shitty day, to know that you've got a couple of nice ones ready to sort of hit the track.
Yes, well, it's a great incentive to bounce out of bed when you've sort of got some nice ones out there waiting for their breakfast and put them through their paces, of course. But yeah, we're on the better half of the winter now, and we're getting a sort of quite sort of colder mornings, but we're getting nice bright days, and so we battle through it. Yeah, so it's something I never worry about the weather because I have no control over it.
No, no, and you're used to it over there, that's for sure. I wanted to talk to you. We were going to try and do this interview prior to the weanling sales, simply because of the off the back of the marketing that the girls were doing. There was a beautiful picture of three generations, if you like, your dad, yourself, and Carter, in a photo at Karaka, I believe the photo was. I might be wrong, but looking basically, you had the catalogues, and you could tell you're discussing someone or something in front of you. And that pre-marketing of yearling sales, you guys go about it, I think, the right way. What I see, and I single years out because I do follow you, but I do get to see it, and I think a lot of people need to follow. I suppose the line that you guys do, I think, for professionalism. How much time do you guys put into looking at yearlings, looking at weanlings, and then also looking at marketing prior to and after sales?
Good question. Hard answer. You never can do too much study. No such thing as that. I pick a lot of people's brains. Sure, I like to think I've got a lot of knowledge myself, but there's always more to try and get off other people. What I see in a horse and other people see in a horse can be two completely different things. But I think I used to pick my dad's brains a lot too, and even listen to Carter. Next generation through. They see things and. So I think even sure I've had a lot of luck over the years, but a lot of the mistakes I've made, I always look back and thinking, why did I buy that one for the wrong reason? I think that's just as much learning as is actually supposedly picking pinhooking the odd good one. Of sure there's a big percentage that you can't see the crystal ball, of course, but trying to patch up on your mistakes is a big thing.
Do you when you say mistakes too, I would imagine stop maybe a little bit early on one, and do you actually monitor some of these horses and you say, oh, that's that one I only went to 50. If I had gone to 60, I might have been able to get it, and they go on to be nice horses. Do you dwell on that sort of thing, or you're happy to let it go once you walk away from the sale?
Oh, never not. No, never not. Once the deal's done, I just walk right or left, and if it goes on to be a superstar, I just wish the connection's the best. There's was many a story you hear at the sales, post yearling sales, a star. I was underbid on that superstar. You hear that a lot, but there's some I probably wish I was underbidder on. Some I'd rather. So, so anyway, it's a 50-50 either way. But just through practice and doing it for so many years, I'd like to think I sort of do okay.
Do you have silly little, I suppose, things that you have to tick off, like Noel Alexander with his two walls and things along those lines? Do you have little things that people might think are a bit quirky for you?
Oh, no doubt, no doubt. Or just a silly one. We're all looking for confirmation, size, and nutrition, and breeding, all that. Well, that's just a logical thing. You've got to look for, of course. But when I first present myself to a horse, I have an illusion in my head what I think I'm going to see through the book, and then I open the store and the horse walks out. And probably something a bit of a rule of thumb for me. I've got a sort of a 5-second rule. That horse is going to give me an inner wow, or it may not. When it may not, I never convince myself for the next 10 minutes to say I'm meant to have this horse, but I don't really like it. Not to say it's good or bad, but that's just a sort of philosophy that I work on. A gut feel in a dictionary or a scientifically way of putting it is worth zero, but gut feel is a big thing for me. And the way a horse looks at me, I love a kind eye, and I love an old-fashioned head on a young horse.
Old-fashioned head.
Old-fashioned head, like an old. I don't like a baby head on a baby horse. I like a head that looks like it's 6 months older than the rest of the body.
And when you say kind eye, because actually Nathan Williamson's, uh, he does an unusual one at Christchurch. I know for a fact where he does do it there. I presume he does it at Karaka too, but he waits till everyone else is gone and walks around and looks at all their eyes or how they are in a box afterwards. When you say a kind eye, what are you after?
You'll see a horse with you want a bigger eyeball, a bigger eye socket, pretty broad between the eyes, but they'll look at you like that they're happy, that they enjoy your company, or they'll look at you like they're pissed off with you. It's yeah, it's something I could probably spend 10 minutes trying to explain it really, but
No, no.
it's probably another gut feel. But and seeing the horse more than once is a big thing. Seeing them on the farm and then seeing them on sale day and out of their comfort zone is a big thing. When horses are parading up, there's a lot of people around, there's a lot of horses. How a horse presents itself when it's in a society that it doesn't really want to be in.
Yep.
Does it play up? Does it get pissed off, or does it? Is it just taking it on board and running with it? That's another sort of thing I run with as well, because we're squeezing them unintentionally pretty tight early in life, so we've got to have a smart brain on them, and attitude has got to be happy.
With that attitude, do you give them a second chance? That, like, you go back and revisit them. Say they tick every box, like pedigree's outstanding. The way they present is outstanding, yet they're a bit flighty. Do you give them an opportunity, or if they're a bit too flighty, you just might keep away and walk away from them?
So flighty is an interesting category. Flighty can be quite nasty, or flighty be a horse is really enjoying itself. Like you can see a colt playing up, but they'll be playful and happy, or you can see a colt playing up and he's aggressive towards something else, towards another horse or a person or something. So, assessing that mischief, if there's such a word,
Yep.
are they enjoying themselves, or are they being very naughty animals?
Yeah, and you obviously like the ones that have just been mischievous, or
Oh, no doubt. Yeah,
Yep.
if they've got a sort of an attitude that sort of sometimes you're going through and breaking in yearlings, one might have a bit of voice and a bit of rogue in them, and you can work that out of them. A bit of good old hard yakka, as they say, will run the bullshit out of them.
Yep.
But sometimes it won't. Sometimes
Yep.
it's stuck in there, and you've got it till day dot.
Yeah, and you might regret that later on.
Yes, true. So the odd one I'd like to have sent back, but I can't. But I try and eliminate that before I put my hand up in the sales ring.
I think I know the answer to this: colt or a filly.
As long as it's fast, it doesn't matter either for me.
All right. And do you have a no-go? Like if one walks out and it's got 4 white feet, or it's got a massive white star or something, like, is there something that Cran Dalgety's just like, yeah, no, I've got to walk away from this one?
No, I'm open to all equations. There's nothing that I specifically say that it definitely can't have, because I work a little bit on the Bart Cummings theory. We're trying to find the most beautiful conformation horse with the greatest pedigree, or who isn't trying to find that?
Yep.
But if one has a little ailment as far as conformation goes, which I don't think is a major, but it's got a better blood print or better pedigree than the beautiful looking one, I'll always take the ugly one with the better breeding.
Yep. Even if it's got a slight little chink in its armor, but you just like that breeding side of it.
No doubt, because the breeding comes out the last 200 meters, and what can happen in a horse's life in 12 months, how they can correct themselves, is truly amazing. So you can't criticize probably small ailments as a horse that's probably 14, 15 months old.
Yep. So, and as you say, they can change. It's pretty cool. It's one of those things I have noticed doing this job over the journey. The breeding does tend to come through a lot of the time. Doesn't mean they'll be a good horse, but if they are a good horse and have good breeding, they can tend to just go that little step further, can't they?
Yes, because we see it so much where there's a lot of things we can measure. We listen to the PR interval, the heart rate. We can listen to the sort of the beats per minute. We can measure lung capacity and all that care on. But a horse might be built with a so-called higher power unit in them, but a horse that's supposedly inferior but has got a bigger will to win will always beat that horse. That's sort of pretty uncomfortable about fighting under the pump. So, but that's something we can't measure. So otherwise, if we could measure that, all the financial people and all the sales rings would take all the cream off the top, and the little person would never be in the equation. So Mother Nature will say that will always stay the way.
Yep, and that's pretty important that they can't measure it, because I think the day that they can do that, unfortunately, our sport will be finished.
Yeah, the multi-millionaires would just take the whole cream.
Absolutely. Right. So I'm swapping hats because I better actually, someone else must have wore this because it doesn't fit this big bonce. But you guys got your hats out this year. They do actually have the Fuego on the back as well. This one was meant to be signed actually, but we didn't get to that. But we'll worry about that later on. This year at the yearling sales, yourself, the whole family, I suppose, in a way, put your head on the chopping block and had a red hot go at purchasing yearlings. Was it decided that that's what you were going to do at the start of this year? Like you said, right, we're in a position where we need to stock up on young stock. Let's have a real crack. Or was it just something that once you started looking at the horses, you thought, geez, we better buy 3 or 4 or 5 of these horses?
A combination of several things. It's quite sort of well known what's happened in New Zealand. 3-4 years ago, we were sort of scratching our heads a wee bit, but since Dean Shannon and Hentane's come on board, and we've pinched another great guy, and Brad Steele from you over there in Queensland, those two in combo with a lot of great team members under them has put New Zealand racing into overdrive. And I thought, well, if the enthusiasm's running as hot as I can see it is, why not strike now? So I went over budgets. A lot of horses went over budgets and numbers, but along with the family, I thought, well, I'm not going to sit back and say I'm not a sort of only person. I give a lot of things a crack. Sometimes they blow up my face, and sometimes they come to fruition. But I thought I sat back and sort of doubted myself sometimes, but I thought, no, let's just drive forward and have a crack. So that's probably basically what we've done.
Yeah, and you got caught. Well, you get caught up in the motion, and anyone that has been to a yearling sale and anyone that's had a bid, your heart rate peaks. It doesn't matter if you've put a $1,000 bid on a horse that's only at $2,000. I mean, your heart rate rises because you think, geez, I might be about to, spend some money. But the emotion does take it over. But by the sounds of it, it was the emotion of what's happening in the industry as much as what the guys selling the horses we're sort of doing on the day.
Oh, very much so. We're all wanting to buy a Rolls Royce at Morris Minor price. Of course, we've got to try and budget, but we're selling dreams rather than selling the sort of a so-called great investment. You think sometimes racehorses, we love it. Is it a good investment? Is it a bad investment? We know down the track, but we're selling excitement, and it's hard to put a price on that. I will say we might buy one for X amount of thousand and only win half as much as its purse money back, but we've put 10 photos on the owner's walls, and that ends up being a success. So it's a sort of an unprofessional professional approach, really. So if we done a budget and every horse we brought and what money we won for it, sometimes you might get a bottom lip down, but shit, we've had a lot of fun on the way.
Yeah, and I think that's one of the things. Sometimes if you paid 100,000 for a Republican Party and he only won 80, people would say, well, they paid 100 and he only won 80, they lost out. But he might have won the Paul Campbell Memorial along the way, which is an immeasurable for the owners as as something that they've been able to achieve. It might only be a $5,000 race, but it's not that. It's that actual high that the people get, and we don't measure that, and we don't sell it, I don't think, properly in our game either.
You've answered that perfectly. That's exactly the case, which I try and explain. They're just a camaraderie, a four-legged horse that can't talk, but the amount of people they bring together, because we're noticing that so much more of recent, having some big numbers in our syndicates. These people are becoming, friends away from even the racing, and the horses have done that. And then when the horse gets to the racetrack, we have more fun. So, seeing a lot of connections go forward, and it's great to see people happy for that reason.
How do we do that better? Before I get on to what you did with the yearlings, this is all, how can we sell it better, Cran? Do you have an idea?
We're meant to be an entertainment machine, and we've got to promote it more as entertaining. I think getting together more on even away from race days, and even like sometimes we have sort of stable days out here where some of the owners come out, and then obviously getting together at the trials. It's something more we'd like to do more of. I'm sure I'm guilty, probably not doing enough of it, but because we live a bit of a crazy lifestyle through training them, of course, 7 days a week, it's hard to do. But I do think the racetracks and the clubs should be coming in and putting their 5 cents in as well, promoting a lot more owners' nights or owners' I think with horses racing on the particular night or particular race, of having a good 20 minutes for them. I know that a lot of clubs are doing it. It costs dollars and cents, but just one drink or one little sort of get together, it costs minimal. But geez, don't the owners love it?
Yeah, I know, but also in New Zealand, I forgot, almost had his name. Then Emily will tell me off the photographer's name though. They're over there, but you get those little. One thing we don't get over here, you get a little plaque of the horse winning straight away, I think, and bottles of wine at certain other places. But maybe we've got to elaborate on that or do a little bit more, maybe.
Oh, it's marvelous. The technology they have when we win a race, and we're lucky enough we're in the winner's circle in the winner's room there. We're all telling each other how good we are, and then 10 minutes later rolls through the picture, and then the bottle of wine with the emblem
Hmm.
on. And don't people love that? Sure, it's not a big expense to do that, but just little emblems to say, when we're victorious, the special occasions we had. So that's still untapped. There's more of that to come.
Yeah, I'm very jealous. We don't do that in Australia, and it's one thing that I think we should do. And I still can't think of his name, but anyway, it'll come to me probably when I'm sound asleep tonight. But that's okay.
Yeah.
One thing you guys did do, and look, you say about it being a 7 day a week, full on card. You were at the yearling sales. You ended up then at the drivers. International Drivers Challenge in Queensland, where Carter was lucky enough to be one of the drivers selected. Unfortunately, things didn't go right there, but you were there, enjoying yourselves, and then went back the next week and had basically a full-on open day to try and sell these horses, which you alluded to just there before, that you got a bit caught up in the moment and you're probably thinking, geez, I'm in trouble here. But you actually got on the front foot and sold these horses in a different way to what people do. And these are the things I want to try and highlight, that you guys are doing different, but it seems so successful.
Yeah, so that was another thing that took a lot putting together, and we talked to the family a lot about doing that, because it is actually very popular in the thoroughbred world, as you probably know, more so in Australia there, and having these big open days. And I had a lot of money on the ticket that particular time, and the drivers' series ended up in the middle, which I was probably a week short. I should have done a week earlier, but naturally we went over and done that, and Queensland there. But we come back and we put on, it was a lot of organising, and was a dollar or two to put it together, but we just had a magic hot day. And we had probably about 220 people here today, and that
Wow.
particular day, and we prayed to our yearlings, and we prayed to Krug here. He come back because he'd been at Stud, and we created a Republican Party and some of our better ones, and then we sort of had a big barbecue and drinks and eats, and we had the people that actually take away the horses after they're retired,
Hero.
going to a good home, and then we
Yep.
had the horse ambulance here, and and we had a few thoroughbred people here. So so we scratched ahead and we made a lot of notes and put a lot of things together, and I was lucky. It actually fell into place really good, and we had all the yearlings in the stalls, and we just had name tags by them and percentages by them, and people just went up and took X percentages. And because the objective of the day was, I wanted to cater for the 1, 2, 3, 5, maybe 10% shareholders, because
Yep.
what happens out there, a lot of people are a little bit hesitant about coming up to a trainer or an owner and say, can I have 2% of that horse? You never can be embarrassed. Everyone's got a budget, and we tried to cater for them, and I'm sure we did.
And so you basically said, was there a piece of paper on the door, and they could say, I'd like 2% of this horse, and that's how it worked?
That's exactly how it cards on the doors. So they'd seen the horse parade during the day. They went over to the yearling barn, and we had another barn when we were away, and they went over in their own time in groups and syndicates. And what was probably amazing about it, Paul, was after the day, I got a lot of phone calls from these particular people. A lot of them had said to me they were coming along to have a social occasion, but had no intention of taking a piece of a horse. But I took 5% of that one, I took 2% of that one, I took 5% of that one. So that's why I said to myself, okay, well, that did kick a goal, because
Yeah.
I got them in the gate. We had a social time. We had camaraderie with all the other people, existing owners, new owners. And so that's where I thought, well, okay, I may have kicked a goal that day. So
Yeah.
it was exciting.
That was, look, and this is the reason I wanted to chat to you. And as I said, the chat I wanted to do was before the weanling sales, and we'll get to why it didn't happen. But I was like, one, you asked me to help you get the message out there, and anyone that asked me to help, and you paid for it, and I'll try and give back more, which is actually a little bit, I think, of what you guys try to do as well. And I was so rapt when I heard, I spoke to you and said, how'd it go? And you said, well, all the shares are gone. And I was like, well, that's huge. Like, that's just a great result, full stop.
Well, it really was, and I will say, and you had a big piece of the action involving that because you were bloody good, and you've got an amazing following, and so I thought, geez, well, I've got to get in bed with Paul here as well, and so it's just a combination of getting it out there, getting it to a lot of
Yeah.
people. Social media is it runs our world nowadays, and let's make the most of it. So that's what I try to do.
But the girls embrace it. And I'm say the girls. I don't think you get onto the Instagram page or the or that, but you do. I think you see what goes out there. But they definitely embrace it. And the one thing I love, well, probably there's a couple of things. One, it's professionally done. That part I do like. But also every week is something different. You did the AI dolls there, 4 or 5 months ago. You could keep doing those sort of things, but you just try to keep changing things up a wee bit, if you like, and getting them different. And by doing that, those owners that have been to your place, they get on their social media and they're like, geez, I wonder what they're going to come up with next week.
Yeah, that's true. It's well, probably the main axis of the wheel is Laura, our oldest daughter, being a marketing guru, and she comes up with a lot of great ideas. She thinks it out, and then Chrissy puts ideas forward to her as well. And then we have Madison, she does that as well, and puts ideas forward. And so it's a combination of many things, but Laura's the brains behind it, and Johnny Turner, who does our site as well, he's marvelous too, and he's great into his reports and stories. So so a combination of many, and then we put it out there.
I think it's awesome, but it proves that it works off that one day, because I'm tipping leading up to that, you're probably a wee bit nervous, thinking, geez, I might be left with a fair few horses here. But luckily, I don't think luck, actually, through good management, it's actually managed to come off.
Well, talk about nervous. I was very nervous. Well, nervous to make the day go right, nervous that the weather was going to be right, nervous that anyone was even going to drive up the drive, Paul, was the biggest thing.
Yeah.
And then we had car parking, we had signage out, and we had people parking cars, and it ended up becoming a very good problem. And then the day was good, and they took pieces of yearlings, and everyone had a beer and a wine, and we fed them, watered them, and sent them home, and all was well.
I was asked to be there. I actually can picture a diddly squat documentary style thing, if you like. I can see you as Jeremy Clarkson wondering if there's any cars coming down the driveway to the, oh shit, where are we going to park them all sort of moment. It was a flashback then.
Yeah, so it was yeah. If I said I wasn't nervous, I was telling lies. Sure, I was nervous, but anyway, it fell into place.
The flow-on effect, and the reason I've left the Brecon Farms one there is because, again, it was prior to the weanling sales. The weanling sales were coming up, Fugitive, and you had another horse whose name's left me as well, that it was purchased through the weanling sales, both being terrific results for you straight away. So you've had a great yearling sale, you sold these horses, you could go to the weanling sales, probably purchase 3 or 4, probably get, sell those horses. Yet not necessarily the horse wasn't there, but whether they went past your market, they weren't quite what you were after on the occasion. You actually didn't purchase a weanling on that occasion. You did purchase one horse, and that's the Art Major out of Linda Lovegrace from Brecon Farms. Again, they're great supporters of mine, but you purchased that yearling and a lovely buy. But so you definitely have a game plan, and you do think things through prior to going to any of these sales, don't you?
Well, it was interesting that time because on that time when the sale was going, I was actually in a motel room in Paris, actually, and it was about 1 o'clock in the morning it started, and I went through for about 4 hours, and I was liaising with Carter Naturally, and I think I probably would have bought a few. I was there, I probably wouldn't have been able to help myself, but we had a sort of bit of a firm budget on, we bid on about 6 babies, actually, but we didn't get what we wanted, but we just probably a bit more stringent on price there, and then at the end, Carter's lucky enough to grab the yearling. So so that was our theory, and so instead of coming away with 6, we came away with 1.
Yeah, no, I think they're well done to you guys, and I caught up with Carter on that occasion, but I do think it shows you don't. You said there before about you can get caught up in the emotion, but the flip side of it is you're also still emotional enough to realise what you're after when you want them, and things along those lines. So half those weanlings might be presented next year at the yearling sales, and you might be putting your hand up on them anyway, because there's quite a few of those were pinhooked.
and I might be silly enough to pay twice as much for them, Paul, with 6 months later. So I do fall in that category as well. But
The guys
yeah.
from NZB will be hoping you pay 3 times, but that's okay. That'll be the way they're
True.
thinking. I've got Yabby Dam Farms underneath. Have you got a trotter? Did you buy a trotter?
We have actually got some trotters. Yes, we did buy one last year's
Yeah.
young sales. Yeah, so we're in the It's generally, as we well know, I don't have a lot of trotters, but I here in the NZ there's 4 races every 10 race program. I can't win unless I have a trotter. So I've got to get my teeth more into them. Put it that way.
Do you not like them, or is it just something that you've just never really had happen?
Well, it's just the way it's fallen really by no reason. If a superstar trotter rolls up the drive tomorrow, well, we're not going to send it away naturally. But you'll see a lot of trainers, here in NZ, like maybe Paul Nean or Phil Williamson, who are stalwart trotting trainers. They never sort of specifically went out their way to have a lot of trotters, but and then what happens? You end up getting a reputation of being a great trotting trainer around the pacing trainer,
Yep.
even though everyone would like to have both. So it just falls that way by fate a lot of times.
Yeah, Paul's got that lovely Better's Delight pacing filly. You got to be careful when you say Better's Delight because they can be trotters. But no, he's got that lovely pacing filly. I think she won 1, maybe 2 this year already. So and goes very good.
True story. Yes.
Right. The reason you weren't at the weanling sales, and this is where this story has developed, because one, you wouldn't give me an interview because you're sitting, I think you told me you're sitting on a boat out of Croatia ready to go for a swim, but you took upon yourself to take a bit of leave yourself and Chrissy and get away. And there was a couple of reasons for it. Firstly, did you enjoy it?
Yes, it's holidays is something we never get enough of, but several things. Well, probably how it originally started. Well, Carter was actually coming with us. We were going to the elite lot in Sweden, and then Carter sort of withdrew and wanted to stay home with some of the better horses here, which is worked out great. And so I said to Chrissy, well, let's just sort of drive on anyway. We hadn't really done the Europe much, and you always feel guilty when you're a horse trainer of going away because you want to be with the animals all the time. But we just sort of bit the tongue. I thought, well, away we go. And it took me 4 or 5 days to probably let the place go out of my head and then enjoy and see the other walks of life over there. And we went to a lot of different countries, and we were away for quite a long time actually. And but the great thing about it is, sure, we had a great time, but the results are really good back at home here, and it's great for not only my confidence, but the staff confidence and the owners' confidence that they won a lot of races. So everything fell into place really good. Everyone had a good time.
When I was talking to you, though, you said that you're checking in twice a day, how they worked, how they put up, where they're at, and things like that. And you had complete confidence in Carter, Andrew Drake, all the other staff that are there behind you. You had complete confidence, but you couldn't. You found you couldn't let go. Is that fair to say?
Well, originally it was, and then probably Chrissy said to me, "You've got to stay off the phone and let them have a go." And I'm probably a slow learner in that department, but
Yeah.
I think I'm invincible sometimes, but I realise I'm not. But it's I'm probably handing the baton over to the new generation between Carter and Andrew Drake and his good lady Brianna and a lot of other good staff here, and it was really good that I think they took on the challenge and they enjoyed it. And one night they won 3, and another couple of nights they won 2 each, and so and that was without my input, and that was exciting.
Yeah, and getting away. Was there ever a day where you just sort of didn't even think about the stable?
Yes, well, after a few weeks into it, I enjoyed it because we were with some, good Kiwi friends we went to as well. It was, and then we went to a lot of different countries, saw a lot of things. We're on the run a lot, so we're sort of well amused a lot what we
Yep.
saw in Europe. It was a fantastic time. And then the heat, and Croatia was great, and we done London and Paris and Italy and Dubai and Singapore and Florida, and so we covered a lot of miles.
Have you ever done a trip like that, like before?
Yes, well, I lived in America for a while, and as a season over there, and then Canada. I worked with a year in Canada as well, and I'd been to Dubai, and I'd been on a racing trip with Derek Delaney's trip to
Yep.
Ireland, and
I'm going there. I'm going there on Sunday.
And you will love that too, the
Yeah.
fun. So that was a fun time. So I'd done a lot of those places, but and then local sort of island places here, but I hadn't really done Europe much. So no, it was a great eye opener for a little fella like me.
Yeah, but I think it's important. You and I spoke about Regan Todd, what he did basically this time last year. And I think even a little bit longer, and he actually extended his stay away. Yet he comes back and he has a superstar like Marketplace come into his stable. And I think I saw that John and Jenna Dunn have taken a holiday as well. Pretty important part for our industry. And back to what you're saying, with so much money being put back into harness racing, especially in New Zealand, that you think, well, you can't leave because there's this money. You've got a heap of new owners that have just signed up. Reality is, mentally you have to, don't you?
Well, yeah, it took me a long time, 50 years, to learn that actually does have it. The place does survive without you. And to go over there, and I'm thinking, gee, these people, we saw millions of people, when you get in London and Paris and underground trains, and there's people everywhere, as you well know. And thinking, geez, well, these people have holidays, they do other things. And so I come back, everything was the same, or probably better, truth be known. And I felt really refreshed, and I had a lot of ideas in my head. And when I come back with, and try to put them into place there. And yeah, it was freshening. I think the staff probably enjoyed sort of having me out of the equation for a while, in all respect, and vice versa. So we've come back a happy family.
The ideas, I don't want to necessarily know them, but are they how to train horses, or are they how to manage staff, or how to manage yourself? Like, what were the ideas that you come back with?
I'll probably go a combination of all of the above, really. In the morning, and the first thing is you want to be cheerful with your staff. If you're not cheerful, you're in a bad mood. Well, it sets the tone bad for the whole stable, really. But so a lot of that is, and keeping in good health yourself, and trying to get enough sleep and sort of diet and things. It's sort of, you've got to be clear minded a lot of times, because a lot of decisions to be making throughout the day. You're making decisions for yourself and staff and horses and all of the above. So your health is your wealth. And I've just been a manager stable, and I think keeping a good morale in the stable is a good thing, because the horses, as silly as you might think they are, they're not silly. That, well, that you're a horseman yourself, but they pick it. The animals pick it, the tone of your voice, and if there's things not going right, and people are sort of scratchy. So trying to keep the horse happy too is a big thing, and so that was one of the main things I thought about as well.
And I'd imagine when you go away for a holiday and you come back, that would be pretty easy to do. The challenge for you will be, especially this year when the pressure comes on, from pretty much October right through November, trying to keep that same, I suppose, motto going.
Yeah, well, that's true. You sort of, sometimes you might get ready and scratchy, you don't even know you're doing it, but probably because I've had a bit of practice, a few years of practice of this now. It's you just try your best and hope for the best. You can't make sort of things happen. You've got no control over, and luck and things. But I think that probably if there's some message I can put out there to young trainers is the measure of a good trainer is a trainer who can ride a storm well without going way off the main highway. And when I say that is, when things go wrong, just address them to your best ability and keep driving forward. Don't do anything radically different, because truth be known, several weeks later you've changed nothing and everything comes good again. So that's about a simple bit of advice over my years I can try and throw to the younger brigade.
I think it's pretty sound. And the only other one I'll add to that is, have a look at the likes of yourself and Regan. Don't be scared not to go away. Like, I think, getting away and getting out helps the brain. I know myself, I'm very fortunate, travel to New Zealand, going to Ireland. So you do get to see things. And when you do come back, you have that spring in your step. So, which can only help everyone.
Oh, vibrant. Yeah, if you're vibrant, and fire in the belly. It's a great thing. We want to keep it burning.
Yeah. Right. Couple of little questions for you. One, what's the best horse that you've been associated with? That I'll give you a think music for a sec. Doesn't necessarily mean you're physically trained, but it could be a horse that you're physically trained. But a horse that you've had some hands-on experience, whether it's one dad trained or someone in America, someone like that.
Well, I suppose I have to start at the top. I suppose Christian Mead was a great horse for us. He won 14 Group 1 races and won American Mile and took me a lot of places. But probably if I go way back, I suppose a horse that got me going, or two horses, a horse called Lord that I'd only been training 6 months, and he went and won the 3-year-old size stakes final here in Cup Day, and I thought, geez, how easy is this training? But I found out quickly it wasn't. But and then moving on from him, a horse called Desperate Comment, that I was only young. I was only 23 when I first got him, and he took me all around Australia. There's not many states he didn't go to, and he won $1.1 million 30 years ago, and never won any 2 or 3-year-old stakes races. He won them all as a free for all. And so I suppose I have to be thankful to him because he got me going. Because it's funny with one good horse, you're a hero with a good horse, and without one, you look like you don't know what you're training. But the horse probably trained me just as much. But so they were just a couple, and I could bore you a lot of in the middle, but they were probably a couple that sort of close to the heart.
He was also, I was trying to think of, because he won a Hunter Cup, did he not? Desperate comment.
He won 2 Victoria Cups. He won
Didn't-
most of his Group 1s. He won about 6 Group 1s in Australia, actually. He loved Australian racing. He was a horse that I wouldn't have brought to young sales because he had everything you didn't want, Paul. He had little wee contracted feet. He had a wild attitude. He was mixie gated, bad steering. But just come a dog fight, he had a bigger heart than most.
Has there been a horse that you've had over the journey that maybe got away, if you know what I mean, like one that you probably thought this horse could be anything, but just didn't quite work out?
Well, probably that category comes in a horse called Lord. He actually only had 6 starts in his life, and he had 5 starts as a 3-year-old, and he ended up being 3-year-old of the year here in New Zealand. And but it was just unfortunately he had a bit of a mishap, and he didn't go on and race anymore. So he had 6 starts his life.
He's like your he's your big fish that got away, sort of thing. You just
So that was cruel, and there's many sort of misfortunes in racing, but you've just got to override that and think about the great things you had.
Right. What's your favorite track venue anywhere in the world? Like what's the place that so sorry mate, we just had an interruption then, but what is your favorite track or venue that you've been to anywhere in the world?
Well, probably local here. Addington's a great track. It's a very fair track here in Christchurch. Been very lucky. The Meadowlands is an exciting track in the US, and then the Red Mile in Lexington. That's an amazing track. But one I will say, I think you can take this on board with me. The most fun and the greatest atmosphere in big races. It's a shame we haven't got it, but we're going to get it back. Was Moonee Valley.
Yep.
Geez, we had some great times there, and the presentations and when we were lucky enough to bring the odd good horse over there. The people would come around the stalls and watch them get up. Loved Moonee Valley.
Yeah, you're right. Actually, it did have a great vibe. It had great stalls. Had so much intrigue, so much mystery, so much fun about it. That's for sure.
Yes.
One I want to ask you about. So when we go back to picking yearlings, and I never got around to this, and I think might have asked you this before. What do you do when you're doing this? I held a horse years ago at a yearling sale, and you're walking alongside of this horse on both sides of the horse. I didn't know you. I didn't have as much cheek back then, and the horse actually sold for 100 and something thousand back. It was an APG sale a long time ago. It was a lot of money back then. John Hawkes, the thoroughbred trainer, actually bought it. But you were walking along this horse. What does that represent? Do you know? Do you remember?
I was walking beside it. You mean when it was walking?
Yep.
So I suppose overstep's a big thing. Are they rapid when they move? You can sometimes sit back and walk all that, but there's nothing worse walking beside them, seeing the momentum of them. Is a big thing. A horse, because you want a horse basically to run fast without working hard.
Yep.
So when you walk beside an athlete, or when you're jogging with someone, you'll know if they're actually doing that at ease or they're working hard.
Yeah,
you can feel that vibe, and I think sure I'd love to run as fast as a horse could and go at full pace with it, of course. But you get a bit of an idea walking with them.
And then,
are they fluent? Are
and
they
then
elegant?
And this is getting a height off them, or what was that? Like you were going from one side of your shoulder to the other at different points of the horse?
Well, I probably like a bit of width across they talk about the loin, the width of the loin at the back of the horse. I like a lot of width over the top of the bum, which obviously you can't see from standing. You've got to go and stand by its wither and look across it. So that's just another wee quirk I like to look at.
Yeah, no, it is indeed. Your shirts, they've disappeared. There's been a bit of upheaval about your Larry shirts. Are they going to make a comeback?
Yes. Yeah, well, I suppose I'm getting more sensible in my life, or sedate. I don't know which.
Don't do that. Don't do that.
No. Well, I'll surprise you. Leave it to me.
Very good. Well, there'll be a lot of people happy with that, and because you have got the boots out, so don't worry. He's going pretty cool with the shoes, so he's got all that part sorted. Grant, thank you very much for joining me. Really appreciate it. As I said, it was sort of planned prior to the weanling sales. I think what you do, and I'm not necessarily singling you guys out as the only people that do it, but I do think the model that you guys are doing, a lot of people could learn a lot off. You're on the front foot with a lot of things. That's yearling sale day, the promotion, that photo just of the three generations of you guys prior to the weanling sales. You're out there marketing, but not being reactive. You're being proactive, and I think we need more industries, more people in our industry to have that same sort of mindset. So I think it's awesome.
Yes, well, we're trying our best. We've got a lot of rough edges to take off our style, of course, but you're just trying to fine tune things, everything, and like you say, have different things out there, keep people's enthusiasm on a high, and to get them to expect the unexpected is a big thing.
Yeah, Gran, thank you, mate. Really, really do appreciate it, and always fun to catch up. Hopefully, next time I'm interviewing you, you've won the New Zealand. Oh, actually, hopefully, I'll chat to you before that. But yeah, the New Zealand Cup later this year is ticked off the bucket list, mate.
Well, we'll try our best, and no, you're running a great show. All compliments to your show. It's amazing. It's connected New Zealand and Australia together a lot more as well, and racing in general. So, no, so all compliments to your show.
No, thank you very much, mate.
Thanks, Paul.